3 WSIL. Here's what's happening right now.
New radios to help local firefighters while they're out on the job.
Plus, bracing for a large trucker protest at our nation's capital. Demands for changes to COVID-19 mandates and restrictions.
But first, Western European leaders get ready to take in millions of Ukrainian refugees because of a possible large-scale Russian invasion. News 3 at 5 starts right now.
We've got you covered. From WSIL, this is News 3 at 5.
Good evening, I'm Julie Williams.
And I'm Mark Kiesling. Ukraine declared a state of emergency today. Curfews are in place in parts of the country, and thousands of reservists have been mobilized.
Russian forces have moved into the two separatist regions. Security officials say a full-scale invasion is just around the corner, but they're still hopeful for a diplomatic solution to the crisis. Zohreen Shah has more.
A senior U.S. defense official saying Russia has 80% of forces around Ukraine in forward positions and are, quote, as ready to go as can be. That country declaring a state of emergency, which will be confirmed by parliament. It places heightened security measures and curfews in parts of the country currently under government control. But Ukraine is still holding on to hope for a diplomatic solution. Their foreign minister telling the UN General Assembly that strong action can force Russia to drop their potential plans.
It is clear that President Putin will not stop by himself.
This is President Putin's war of choice. If he chooses to escalate further, Russia and Russia alone will bear full responsibility for what is to come.
Late today, President Biden announcing new sanctions against Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Earlier, Germany pulled certification for the critical pipeline from Russia.
We have ensured that this is an $11 billion prize investment that is now a hunk of steel sitting at the bottom of the sea.
The European Union also putting in place more tough sanctions, targeting 2 Russian banks and blacklisting all of Russia's parliament, who sided with Putin to send troops into eastern Ukraine. Ukraine says a cyber attack has knocked many of their government websites off the internet, and multiple banks were also having issues. Zohreen Shah, ABC News, Washington.
Former President Trump has an opinion on the tensions between Russia and Ukraine. He says Russian President Putin's strategic moves are, quote, genius.
I said, this is genius. Putin declares a big portion of the Ukraine. Putin declares it as independent. Oh, that's wonderful. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border. That's the strongest peace force I've ever seen. There were more army tanks than I've ever seen. They're going to keep peace all right.
Those tensions between Russia and Ukraine are also impacting the global market for various products. Both countries produce 29% of all wheat exports, 19% of all corn supplies, and 80% of sunflower oil exports. Wheat prices have already shot up more than 6%. Soybean prices have seen a smaller but similar increase. It could be good news for U.S. farmers who could help offset supply problems in Europe. Russia is also a major producer of fertilizer products. The sanctions could cause an interruption in fertilizer supplies, driving up prices before spring planting season.
And here at home, we are seeing another active weather day. We're already starting to see some of that winter weather making its way into the region. Quick check on some of our sky cams across the area. Seeing some of that sleet covering the ground there. Looks like in Perryville, maybe showing up on that Sparta camera as well. Maybe some on the sides of the roads. Again, in Mount Vernon, this is going to continue to be the trend as we shift overnight tonight. So this is the first wave, and then we're expecting another wave as we shift throughout the day tomorrow. So a couple of days that you just want to allow yourself extra time to get to where you need to be. Slow down, stay safe. Quick check of the radar. Again, widespread wintry mix across the entire region. Most of the reports that have come along, really along and north of Route 13 at this time, have been sleet. Now, when you see some of those bright blue colors showing up, could be seeing some limited visibilities as folks are heading home from work. And as you start to push a little bit further to the south, seeing some freezing rain reports mixed in with some of that. So again, sleet and freezing rain, the big story right now. This activity is going to stick around into tomorrow. So the National Weather Service, we do still have a winter storm warning in place for parts of the area from tonight throughout the day into early Friday morning. Some of the folks that were not in any advisories off into our eastern counties are now under a winter weather advisory. So just something to be aware of. The Storm Track 3 team is keeping an eye on some of this activity. We have Storm Track 3 meteorologist Katie Melvin out in Marion right now. Katie, what's it look like out there?
Yeah, I am in Marion right now at the intersection of 13 and 148, and it is very, very cold outside. It is about 25 degrees with the real feel down in the teens, and compared to yesterday, we're seeing a 30 to 40 degree difference. So if it's, it's bad enough, it's already down into the 20s, and it just feels even colder than it really is. So it is sleeting right now outside. It's kind of flipping back and forth between light and moderate. And just a reminder, sleet falls down as ice and pellets, so it often bounces and it easily accumulates. Right now, though, I don't see any effect on the main roadways. We've seen lots of salt trucks out and about trying to salt the roads. It's mostly just sticking to elevated surfaces, grassy areas, cars, and stuff like that. But I am concerned going into overnight or even just a couple of hours from now, if it does accumulate and it is so cold, it could cause some traffic issues. But right now, everybody's kind of heading home, and I haven't seen any issues quite yet, but I could definitely see that change in just a couple of hours. Reporting live, I'm Storm Track 3 meteorologist Katie Melvin.
The Carbondale Fire Department will receive funding for new radios. The City Council approved $300,000 for new radios for the fire department at last night's meeting. All of the current radios are more than 10 years old and all have been discontinued by the manufacturer. The department says these radios are important for the safety of firefighters and the safety of the community they serve.
To me personally, it's huge because we try to provide the best equipment that we can for our folks that work here for their safety, and so that now that we're going to be able to purchase these, I'm extremely excited.
The city is using funding from the American Rescue Plan Act to buy those new radios.